My name is Jane.
My name is Toth, and I was a tech sergeant in the United States Army. I was a paratrooper. I went through jump school in 1950 at Fort Benning, Georgia. And one day, back at Fort Campbell, where our division was stationed, I was asked to be sergeant of the guard. We had guard duty. I had 30 men. And the captain came up to me and says, pick out one man and he will be the colonel's orderly. He will receive a 3-day pass. I said, Captain, I want all my 30 men to have a 3-day pass. He said, you out of your cotton picking mind? I said, no, sir. And by that time, I didn't know it, the general of the division and his 7 full-bird colonels were looking out the window from regimental headquarters. They knew something was wrong or going on. And they came out and the general went up to the captain. He said, Captain, do you have a problem here? No, sir. Sergeant Toth, do you have a problem? I said, no problem, sir, but I have a request. He said, what is that request? And I told him, I says, if I have a man that's a colonel's orderly, he receives a 3-day pass. I said, I want all 30 of my men to have a 3-day pass because they're all sharp as a tack and know their general orders and everything is spit and polished. He said, you mind if I check out your men? The general looked the men over. He said, Sergeant Toth, I've been in this army 26 years. I'm a West Point graduate. I understand your brother's a West Point graduate too. I said, yes, sir. Well, he knows all about military then. I said, yes, sir. He says, I never in the history of the United States Army or any branch of the service heard of such a request, and it was granted. I grant those 30 men a 3-day pass, and what I got out of it, I got a 10-day furlough. I got promoted from a staff sergeant to a tech sergeant. I got another stripe. And when I left the service, I was a master sergeant. That's the highest you can go as an enlisted man. I turned down 7 battlefield commissions to become an officer. I didn't want to start out as a second lieutenant. It's like being a private or trying to make PFC when you're in the Army, private first class.
And you were a paratrooper, is that correct, Mr.?
I was a what?
You served in World War II.
I served World War II and in Korea. In Korea, we was up on Old Baldy. They call it Old Baldy because they've been hit so many times and the trees were nothing but stumps. Artillery fire and the shrapnel cut these trees down in the vegetation. One night we was dug in up on top of the hill, 149 of us Army guys were dug in. And 3,000 Chinese troops hit us that night. We were down to 22 men and we're all wounded. And Captain says, Sergeant, he said, I want you to have your men lay down on the ground and pull the dead bodies of their comrades over them so the enemy will think that we're all dead. So he did. I'm laying on the ground and his Chinese soldiers stuck bayonets in the dead bodies anyway. And he stuck in his body next to me that I had pulled over on me to act like I was dead. He missed my jugular vein by 3 inches. I would have been killed. He would have stuck that bayonet right into my neck there, severing that main artery. But anyway, when we came off the hill, there was only 9 of us that was able to walk, and we were all badly wounded, and we barely made it off the hill. They took us to the hospital, and I was in the hospital about a month. And they came out, they put us back up in the front lines to get the fight. And I was a prisoner of war by the Germans in Normandy. I landed on Utah Beach. And I advanced with my tank. I was an armored outfit then. So when you're 24 years in the service, you get to different branches of the military that you serve. So I looked back and I saw the 2 tanks couldn't start their engines, the tankers, on their LCT, which is the landing craft tank. It's a ship made special to carry the tanks. And the Germans zeroed in and blew the ship and the tanks and the men all to pieces. We found chunks of human body flesh about 9 inches square, the smallest, biggest piece we found. And then I tried to advance with my tank by myself with my 4-man crew, and the Germans knocked my bogey wheel off my track. That's the track that propels the tank. The track with the bogey wheel. And we were captured and we were taken to a farmhouse outside of St. Lo. We were down in the basement and they gave us raw potatoes to eat for 2 weeks. And I boiled them in water mostly. That's the best way we ate them. And I lost about 35, 40 pounds within a week. It was terrible. One man died from dysentery, from the food. They gave us sloppy cabbage soup that if you ate it, you're going to die from it. I didn't eat any of that soup, neither the other men, but this one guy, he wolfed it down. He was so hungry and he died because of the bacteria that was in that soup. And that's about it that I can talk about some of my experiences during the war in Korea. And I can say that I'm glad I served our great country and protect us from the enemy. These young children growing up, I hope they realize what a great country they were born in, that they serve in the military and do their part for our great country. I worry about our generation coming up, these youngsters, if they're going to be like us old-timers, that we sacrificed and we died for our country. God bless you, America, and God bless all you people.
Thank you very much, Mr.